Hi, and welcome to this edition of the Fordham Ram Roundup with the men's soccer team. First edition, we're here with head coach Jim McElderry. Jim, 4 games into the season, you guys picked up your first win of the season on Monday against Fairfield. How would you evaluate the team so far through this first quarter of the schedule?
Listen, we're putting work in, but we've got a long way to go. It was great to get a win the other day, but I think it was one of those that could have really gone in either direction. I thought on Friday against Quinnipiac we played very well, and we were unlucky not to get something out of that game. But we have a long way to go. We've got a team that's still coming together. We've got pieces that we're still trying to figure out what's best in each game situation. So I'm happy with how much work they're putting in, but we still need to get better.
How much for those new players that are coming into the situation, the Stoics, the Olins, how much of a growing pain is that this year to have, again, young guys right up the middle of your defense too?
Yeah, I think those guys have done pretty well. It is a definite transition, and it's just a different game. Both of those guys are coming from different countries, so it's even where they're coming from individually is different. But listen, what we need is our older guys who have been here for 2, 3, 4 years to lead those younger guys. And even though they're playing a lot of minutes, they need to be the leaders of the group. And we've got some that are really stepping up and some that are just coming into their own right now for this season. So we have a huge upside still with this group, but we need to get better.
One guy that I've seen being a little bit more aggressive in games, Eric Ollendorf, and he had the goal and the assist in the win the other day. He has been more a role player for you guys in the previous 2 years. How have you seen his progression this year?
Yeah, I think with Eric, he's played every season for us some part, even when he was a freshman. Had a great spring for us, pretty much played every minute of every game, scored goals in games in the spring, and he came in incredibly fit. He has that potential, has always had that potential, and not that he was ever unfit, but he really came in at a different level this year, and it showed, and it's helped him compete in games for long periods of time, and as you saw on Friday, he scores a huge goal for us, which we really needed to get back into the game. So I'm really happy with where he is right now, and again, as he knows, he can even improve.
This week, only one game on the weekend against Lafayette on Friday night. What are you expecting out of the Patriot League opponent?
I think it'll be really tough. Dennis does a really good job with his team. They're always super competitive, very difficult on set pieces, defend really well. They're a young team. He lost a couple of players last year through graduation. They have a very good player, Egan from Long Island, who we know very well, who's been a 4-year starter for them. They haven't had a great start to the season, but as we know in college soccer, that doesn't really mean that much. They'll come in, and I expect it to be really, really tough. I expect it to be really tight, and if we're not playing well, it's not going to go our way.
All right, well, thanks so much for the time, Coach, and we'll see you after Friday's game.
Thanks, Scott.
We'll be right back with our player interview with senior Andy Hickey. Here with senior Andy Hickey of the Fordham men's soccer team for our player interview today on the Ram Roundup. Andy, so far 4 games in, 1, 2, and 1. How would you evaluate how the team has played so far through those first 4 games?
I think the first 4 games have been a bit difficult for us. I feel like in some games we felt like we brought a lot but didn't get the result. But we've sat back and evaluated and noticed that haven't been good enough in certain areas that would allow us to get that result. But I think right now, after getting the win this past week, that we're feeling a bit more confident that we can start scoring some more goals. We scored 2 and we've come back from 1-0 down against Fairfield. But overall, I think we're slightly disappointed that we haven't got some more better results on our side. But we also know that some of the best teams get good results when they're playing bad, and unfortunately, there's times when we haven't done that so far.
So far through 4 games, you've allowed only 1 goal per game on the defensive side, but you're also bringing in 2 new players with Jorgen Oland and Tim Stoy kind of on that back end with yourself, Chris Pizzeni, and Matt Lewis. How has that transition been to get them acclimated to how the 3 of you play, because you 3 have played together for 3 straight years?
Yeah, I think the transition has been very good. Obviously, in terms of Jurgen's, maybe Jurgen's just slotting in right in that back 4, and for Tim it's a bit different because his position at times is a little bit more demanding in terms of the running and his positional sense when we don't have the ball. So we're working on that in terms of sliding left to right and having Tim in a place where we believe we can be successful keeping goals out. But so far it's been working pretty good. We feel we haven't although we've conceded a goal in every game, we haven't been carved through as such in terms of teams haven't been able to dance around us and have an easy finish. You know, some of the goals that we've conceded this year have been some great strikes from outside the box and a set piece, but it's going well with myself, Matt, and Chris, who like you said, we've played together for so long that it seems like we've been doing it for forever.
I know Coach McElderry mentioned during the preseason having Jorgen in there and sliding Matt Lewis over to a more natural position for him, that he's kind of been playing out of position defensively, where you had Ryan Capolo on the other side. How much have you seen improvement-wise out of Matt? Again, Matt's been an all-conference player, already recognized in this league, about how he's kind of stepped up this particular year.
Yeah, I think for Matt, putting him in a position where he's most comfortable, you can really see him excel. You know, Jürgen is a guy who back in Norway has played at a very high level, and putting him as a left-sided centre back, will allow Matt to kind of distribute the ball the way he wants to and not force it, feeling that I have to go down the left side because I'm a left-sided centre back, and that's what we found in previous years. It's been difficult, like you said, with Ryan Capolo, who was an excellent player in terms of his ability to move it left and right, but Matt's been a huge part of this back four this past 4 years.
All right, Andy, well, best of luck on Friday against Lafayette, and we'll see you next week.
Absolutely. Thank you.
That'll do it for this edition of the Fordham Rand Roundup with the men's soccer team. They have one game this weekend as they play host to Lafayette at 7 p.m. right here on Jack Coffey Field. That game will be streamed live on the Atlantic 10 Digital Network. You can also follow on Twitter at Fordham Soccer to get all the latest updates. For the Fordham Rand Roundup, I'm Scott Kwiatkowski, and we'll see you next week.